All right, so yesterday I was talking to a client and he had a question about withdrawal. So he asked, what does withdrawal look and feel like? Not to scare anyone off, but to be realistic in our expectation of what the process really looks like. I'm having stomach issues, nausea, fatigue, and a lump that sits in my throat sometimes, or sometimes in my stomach. I'm also coughing a lot. This always happens when I get really tempted. So, what does withdrawal from a porn addiction look like? Well, what I would say is, first of all, it is really hard for me personally to look back and remember what it was like at the start, and that's where the remember letter comes in, because that remember letter that you write to yourself is all about really going and facing that addiction, how bad it truly is for you. But I remember writing some of those remember letters early on, and they were really quite intense, really quite dark. So yeah, withdrawal is difficult. Being in a porn addiction is difficult. But the way I'd frame it is, it's a bit like going on a roller coaster, and you just have to sort of go, you know what, I'm going to get on this roller coaster no matter what, and I'm not going to get off the roller coaster. Once you've committed to the process, once you've chosen for yourself, you know what, I am done with porn for good, you have to accept. We don't have to accept, but if you want success in actually overcoming this for good, then you will need to choose to accept that temporary discomfort. You will have to choose to accept those ups and downs. So yeah, for me, I remember actually sometimes in those peaks of withdrawal, my body would almost be shaking. I would feel quite ill at times. And I think after engaging in particular, I would feel a cold quite often come on. So I was ill. And yeah, it was really difficult, of course, but what you've got to remember about all of that withdrawal is that it's the engaging with the porn, it's the engaging with that compulsive behaviour which is creating the withdrawal. If you never ever had engaged with the compulsive behaviour, then you wouldn't be going through that withdrawal. And so when in your mind it's just coming up with all this persistent junky thinking, and all you want to do is get out of the withdrawal because it feels so incredibly horrible, it's like this pervasive feeling through your body, and maybe it's really difficult for you. When you are considering that, and it's like all you want to do is get out of that feeling, you really want to connect to your script, read through the facts, think through your choice. What do I do in this moment? What am I choosing to do right now, and why? Because the thing is, if you do choose to engage, you will have to go through the same feelings you're experiencing today again at some point in the future. And that's never going to stop. That's why we have fact 3, that you will be stuck in the addiction indefinitely if you choose to engage. That is what happens. And that's never really going to change, because it's the engaging which creates the withdrawal. Now, the amazing news is that permanent mental freedom is possible. You can rewire those addictive neural pathways, change your brain for good, and no longer live with this. And as you'll know, all of this sort of starts with going beyond that deprivation thinking and realizing that you can engage, and that it is a choice, and that you actually have the power and the ability to make a conscious choice for yourself. And you do that through connecting to your script, reading through the facts, and going, okay, option A, option B, what am I going to do right now and why? And you just think it through. So what you want to do is just accept that temporary discomfort, willingly accept it. And it's not about resisting it or fighting it. It's not about distracting yourself, trying to get away from it. But equally, it doesn't mean you have to sit around in discomfort all the time. So I know we've had some clients who came up with some thoughts of oh no, am I just distracting myself from this discomfort because I was spending time with my nephew. And this was a few weeks ago. A different client was saying, he'd spent the weekend with his nephew and had really, really nice time, really wholesome. And he'd gone a few weeks without porn. And so his addicted part of the mind was saying to him am I just escaping that discomfort of withdrawal? And the answer to that is no, you're not. You're just spending time with your nephew. You're just having a good time. That's fine. You can go and have good times and enjoy your life and have that peace of mind, but you're only really going to experience that peace of mind by thinking through that choice. You don't want to get into that internal constant conflict of I want to engage, I want to stop, and you're going back and forth with yourself constantly. That's not going to get you anywhere, and that's what's going to make this process so much harder. So you can actually make the process of quitting not easy, but very, very straightforward when you just willingly accept that temporary discomfort. And I would say willingly is kind of the key word here. It's almost bring it on, I'm going to go through some coughing. I'm going to go through feeling horrible for a few days because I know that going through all of that is what's actually changing those addictive neural pathways and is getting me to this place that I want to be, which is permanent mental freedom from the compulsive behaviour. It's also really, really important to acknowledge that this withdrawal is not going to last forever. It's probably going to be hardest in those first few weeks, and then what happens like over time is the junky thinking can come up. It can be quite persistent, and you have all these different thoughts trying to get you away from the script or trying to get you back into porn one way or another, and you just have to acknowledge those thoughts and answer them back as well, and be assertive and just take control of your mind. It really is about being proactive and feeling empowered to go, you know what, this is my choice and I'm not powerless, and I'm not going to consent to helplessness, because the addicted part of the mind at all times is going to try and get you to consent to helplessness. It's going to try and use this withdrawal against you. All these like horrible feelings you experience, it's going to try and use those against you to get you to engage and feel helpless. And you're going to have some junky thinking along the lines of, oh, I'm going to be stuck like this forever. I can't do it anymore. I can't cope. I have to give in. All of those sort of thoughts. But just remember, it's all part of the addiction. It's all part of the addicted part of the mind. That's what's going on here. And if you do engage, if you make that choice, which you can do, you know, you're not deprived, you can make that choice, then you're just going to have to go through this withdrawal again, and then again, and then again. And when are you ever going to get through? When are you ever going to have peace of mind? So it's up to you. It's up to you what you do. You can willingly accept the temporary discomfort, or you can refuse to face the addicted part of the mind, consent to helplessness, and continue in your compulsive behaviour. The choice is yours, and no one can ever take that choice away from you. Now, if you want to learn more about the Beyond Compulsion method, if you want to build your own personalised script with help from me and Mary, then you can find more details of the Beyond Compulsion method at www.thomasmolyneux.com. I will leave a link in the description. I'll leave a link to some free training and also a test as well, where you can like discover if you're addicted to porn or not, and you'll get a score out of 100. So hopefully those free resources can help you a little bit. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope it helps a little bit, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.